In the previous lesson, we went over how to build up the skeleton of your CRM. Now we're going to bring it to life with a lot more customization. We want to do this before we bring in your existing contacts so that when it comes to that stage, you'll be in a much better place to match up every piece of specific information seamlessly into ClickUp. Now onto the juicy part, we get to add in what's called custom fields. These are things that aren't your conventional details like phone numbers, email addresses, and company names. This is where you can track everything in more detail, like what the day rate is that the client typically pays you, how did they find you, and what type of client are they. The first thing we need to do is to click on your workspace icon, then click apps, and search for custom fields. And we'll want to turn this on so that they show up on every task. ClickUps are like extra features that you can activate within ClickUp to make it even more customizable. We'll go into our client directory, and I find that custom fields are best in the list or table view. Here are some that I personally use, and especially if you're coming from the client tracker, this is super relevant as I'll be showing you how to bring in all of your client tracker details into these custom fields too. Let's start off with the client type using Dropdowns. So Dropdowns are a great way to categorize something that you use often. I use this in a few ways, like for the type of client that they are. Here you just write in the ones that you typically work with, so something like post house, and then you select the color here, and then you'd add in all the other types like agency, recruiter, talent agent, and so on. Another way I like to use the drop downs is for how we came into contact. I like to call this source and add in all of the common ways that a client has found me. So this would be direct, referrals, social media, through job boards, etc. The beauty of this is, unlike a spreadsheet, if you change your mind in the future or add more, it dynamically updates across your database so you can easily see all of the clients that have found you through referrals, for example. Another variation of this are labels. Similar to Dropdowns, labels are a great way to categorize information by tagging them, although with labels it allows you to add in more than one at a time. If you're a hybrid artist and you get hired for multiple skills, this is a great way to keep track of the roles that you're booked in for. So we'll create one called role, and it may be for editing, visual effects, motion graphics, illustration, grading, and so on. Sometimes you're brought in for more than one skill at a time, so you're better off using labels for this. It's pretty straightforward, but you can add checkboxes for anything like if they allow for remote working, or to keep track of something with a yes or no answer, like if they've paid the invoice. The money field is great to keep track of things like a typical day rate that you charge, so you can refer back to this to see if it's in line with your current rate. You can even use this as a reminder for which clients are on your old day rate and which ones you need to reach out to, letting them know about your updated rate. Similar to our client tracker, you can categorize the quality of your clients using the star system by rating overall how great of a client are they, and then even prioritizing your favorite ones. Another way I use ratings is when I get an inquiry or pitch for work, you can use this as like a confidence meter for how likely they are to go ahead and book you in. If you're ever curious of where your client base mainly are, especially if you're working remotely, I love that you can add in an address field here, pop in a client's address, and then on the map view, you get to see all of your international clients. If you also work in production or you're traveling and you want to set up an in-person meeting, you could even plan a route to see your clients face to face. The date field I find useful in two main ways. I like to add in the date for when we first came into contact to see how long of a client they've been with us. This will also make a lot of sense in another advanced lesson where we go through how to create auto reminders to follow up with clients that we haven't worked with after a certain amount of time. Pretty cool. On the actual task, you could put in a start and date time for the project, then jumping into the calendar view, we can see all of this as a simple due date for when the project is actually due, so that you can then anticipate any deadlines within the week. You also get to see how your availability is looking to reach out to your prospects with which dates you're free. And this also helps you keep on top of the workload and see if you're able to actually take on another project, or there's going to be some overlap and you need to outsource some of the projects to get those delivered on time. Okay, on to a few pro tips in ClickUp. Once you've added in all this information, you could even sort the fields like this. Let's say you want to reach out to only the clients that book you in for grading work, because you want to send out your new grading reel, so you can sort this out by the role and then go onto each email address to open it up in your default mail program. You can use one of our email templates, add in something personal and a link to your show reel, and you're done. You streamlines the entire process. You could even sort this out by day rate from highest to lowest, so you know who you might want to prioritize to book in first. In the list and table view, you'll see that you can scroll on forever, so sometimes you're going to be in your inquiries list rather than your client directory, and you might only want to see the relevant details without having to delete them from there. So instead, you want to go to the Show Hide column section here to display only what you want to see per list. So that's how you set up custom fields, get creative with it, and think about what do you need to know about each client that you would love to see at a glance. Once you've done this, we can move on to the next lesson, which is bringing in all of your existing clients and matching them to these custom fields.